Well, good morning. Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. How are you all today? I hope you're well. The enemy is here. The enemy is already here. I'm going to share something about that with you and what to expect, what I think you ought to do about it. And I'm going to talk about the Trojan horrors that we have right here in our country. Before we get to that, I want to say I just received a very nice letter, a two-page letter from a patron, a viewer, along with a shoulder patch from his law enforcement agency and a couple of challenge coins. He's asked me not to reveal that or show them on there because his agency is kind of picky about their stuff getting out, and I can well understand that. I just wanted to thank you so much. You know who you are. If you don't know what I'm talking about, people send me patches, shoulder patches. It's a thing in law enforcement, and I'm in the process of putting together a new office, and when I get that done, I'll have a patch board with all of the things that people have said. I love that. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. And he included, like I say, a couple of challenge coins from his agency. And he said he didn't know if I collected those or not. I certainly do. I'd love to have them. And thank you so much. So I'll get your stuff to you in the mail quick as soon as we can. Also a reminder, if you're new to us, that this and all of our videos here are brought to you by the Stone Mott series, the complete plan of how to prepare for, how to survive, and how to rebuild after a complete collapse of everything. I have to lean over here to get everything in there, don't I? The reversion, the revival, the renewal, an appeal to heaven, the blessings of freedom, hostages to fortune. 6 novels that are a great story, but include, woven within the story, all of the preparedness survival lessons you could ever want, written by me, yes. They're available either through Amazon, links down below, or through our website, stonemont.us, link also down below. If you're with us on Patreon, today's chat, and I've just put it up there, today's chat, that everybody can follow through the day and write in whatever you would like, is what are you doing today to increase your preps or increase your preparedness stance? So that's over there. If you're not with us on Patreon, you ought to be. You'd like it. There's a lot more stuff over there, and you can get a lot out of it. That link is down below. It costs you $1 a month to come over. If you're following my Audible reading of the second book, The Revival, we're up to chapter 12, I think, and that's on the Stone Mott level over there. So if you like that, come over and do that. You're familiar with the story of the Trojan horse, right? Okay, the Greeks had besieged Troy. They weren't able to get in, and so they used a trick. They built, the story goes, they built a large wooden horse in which their best fighters, including Odysseus, or some people call him Odysseus, hid in the horse, and then the rest of the Greek army sailed away looking as if they had left this horse as a gift to Troy, kind of honor. Okay, we couldn't beat you here, have this honorific. And so the Trojans, they watched the Greek armies sail away in their ships and thought everything was cool. They brought the horse into into Troy, into the gates of Troy, and thought, this is our trophy for winning. And of course, at night, the Greeks opened the horse from the inside, went out, opened the gates, and the Greek army, which had come back in secret, invaded Troy and brought them down. Okay, for those of you who weren't familiar with the story, that's it in a nutshell. Yesterday, one of our highly esteemed patrons on the Patreon channel put up posted a video in the comment section that explains all of the Chinese immigrants that are coming across illegally, coming across our southern border. It's something that people have alluded to, but not something that we have seen, in my opinion, the dots being connected as well as it does here. So we've wondered, why are all these, well, OTMs other than Mexicans coming across our southern border? We see them, excuse me just a second. I had to sneeze. We see them coming from all over the world, but of particular concern were the large number of Chinese, young military-aged men. Okay, no women with them, no kids, men. Why are they here? Well, we have assumed that they were here as, you know, as a Trojan horse type of thing to get into our country, and to whereas this is kind of the Trojan horse, why have they been allowed in? Because of what I term now the Trojan whores in Washington and in our government that have allowed this. What's a whore? I know, you never thought that you would hear me talking about this, did you? Neither did I. But what is a whore? A whore is a person who does the bidding of another for consideration, money, whatever, and that's about it. And of course, our country is run by whores. We think, you know, our country was set up to vote for representatives, people who would go to the state or the federal government and represent our interests. Well, of course, that's not the way that it has turned out to be. They go up there, they schmooze the public, and then they go up there and enrich themselves at the expense of those they are supposed to represent, and many times for foreign powers. We know that, right? We know that. And it's on both sides of the aisle. It happens on both sides of the aisle. That's where the money is. And they're whores. They do it for money. Well, we've been wondering why all these Chinese, right? Here's the thing. And I'll post. I've already posted the video over on Patreon that our member posted, but I posted it in the main section so everybody can see it. In it, Dick Durbin, it shows a film clip of Dick Durbin promoting a bill that's been put up by somebody else. I don't know who it was. And it is saying the bill will allow non-citizens, regardless of legal status, this is important to understand, regardless of legal status, to join our military. And at the end of their military service, if they are, you know, separated in honorable conditions, under honorable conditions, they can become U.S. citizens. Well, that last part is not really the danger. Well, it could be. It could be a great danger. But the danger is that all of these could be serving in our military. There's a second part to this before I bring the first and the second part together. And that is, I read an article that LAPD, Los Angeles Police Department, is now training and certifying and commissioning police officers who are not American citizens. Those people who are some of the DACA, if you remember that. So we now have police officers in LA, and maybe many other places, I don't know, I just happened to see the article about LA, to where a non-citizen can arrest an American citizen. How does that sound to you? How does that taste? How hard is that to swallow? Pretty damn hard, isn't it? And so if we are seeing this in our law enforcement, and it'll spread, and then we see our military being filled with foreign troops. What's the purpose of that? Well, You remember when Obama said that we need a domestic force equal to, in number, training, operational capabilities, all that, a domestic force equal to our military. For why? For what? Well, there's only one reason, and that's to control the American people. That's right. And so I think that while we all had our suspicions about this, I think this clip, and if you want to see it, I'll post it below in a link on this video when I put this video on Patreon. What Durbin just brought up, and that is allowing foreign nationals to join our military. And you know, the reason that this can happen, I mean, our country has shot itself in the foot, because our recruiting is down. They can't find people to join the military for a couple of reasons. First off, nobody wants to go off and join a military that's being misused and is going to be involved in 20-year wars. Who wants to do that? Nobody. But in addition to that, they can't find enough people who want to join that can pass. You know, they're druggies, they're fat, they're, you know, whatever. So we don't have enough American people to fill the American military. Does that remind you of Rome and any other fallen republic? It certainly does. So we've gotten to the point now to where our law enforcement and our military, our representatives, the whores, have structured it so that our law enforcement and military can be filled with foreign nationals. I mean, I mean, that's a better plan than, what was the name of that movie? Red Dawn? The second one, where it was the, I don't know, Chinese, North Koreans, whoever came in. It's a better plan, right? It really is. So you can understand what's going on here. And they will be, our military will be filled with these. And you know, these people are smart. These are not dumb people. China, you can be sure, and I'll tell you something scary in this, that it shows how all of these Chinese, and if you see the clip of them, I mean, they are not dirty, right? They got new looking luggage. They're coming over here, they're pretty sharp looking. And it is facilitated, you can be sure, by the Chinese government, by the CCP. And they go into detail in this video about exactly how it happens. They will go into great detail how they come over here, how they are recruited, the path that they take to get into the United States, and how they are assisted by the Chinese government. So, and our government knows this. Our government knows this. It shows that our government is no longer our government. It's a global government. It's a part of a global government. No longer interested in the welfare of the American people, but interested only in their own welfare. Somebody asked a question, why do you think they're doing this? Well, they're doing it for money. They're doing it for power. They think that, first off, they have great disdain for American values. They've never liked what America has always stood for, and they're all in it about themselves, and they're getting the moolah. And they think that they're going to find themselves in a good position, you know, when the New World Order comes. Kind of like the mayor in that movie, Red Dawn. So what should you do about it? Because this is coming. This is happening. Again, you need to try to separate yourself as much as you can from the system, which is not only collapsing, but totally corrupt. And the collapse is purposeful. You can be sure of that. The collapse is purposeful. The plan on their part has been brilliant. It has been brilliant. They've used the American weakness against us. And those of us who feel the way we do, we've been too busy working, supporting our families, raising our families, right? Doing what's right. We didn't spend our time thinking about how to destroy other people or our country. They did. And it's coming to fruition, you can be sure. You need to protect yourself. To do that, you need to separate yourself as much as you can from these external systems. That's what I always talk about. Integrative preparedness is about everything you do having to do with not only preparing for an uncertain future, but improving the quality of your life now. I told the story a couple of videos ago, I guess, of a friend of mine. Well, I have more than one who, as a result of their starting to become interested in preparedness and understand what was going on in the world, they bought farms. So they continue to live the good life here, as our country limps along. But they were financially able to go out and buy farms. Not everybody is able to do that, I understand. But you need, if you don't already live a life that is pretty darn self-sustaining, you need to do everything you can to reach that point. Become more self-sufficient. All of those things, I'm going to be doing one here in a little bit, probably on the 7 B's of preparedness. You all heard the 3 B's. I added 2. Mike Hoskins, a patron on Patreon, added a 6th, and Kevin Altapeter added a 7th. I'm going to be talking about the 7 B's of preparedness, and if you can follow those, you'll be in a much better place, regardless of what happens in the future. Okay. Prepare. The evil that is at the root of what's happening to our country cannot be overstated. But it's moving so slowly, and in some cases not slowly, but it's moving so slowly that the average person doesn't recognize it. You recognize it. If you don't recognize it, please think about it. Watch that video. Think about it, and then do something about it. What's necessary to do something is to want to do it. You have to want to do it, but you can't stop with the wanting. You have to go to the next step and do it. So our country, that most of us have realized is no longer the country it once was. The United States of America, that corporate entity, is pretty much, it's so corrupt, there is nothing to it anymore. It's a hollowed out, rotten tree. The concept of America is still alive, because that is a feeling, that's a state of mind. You have to be strong enough to be able to withstand what's coming, and that means prepared enough to withstand what's coming, and hopefully try to maintain that way of life that has always been the American way of life. If you're in another country, I hope it's the same. I hope you're doing the same in your situation. If you're in Australia or Germany or Canada or whatever, do everything you can to maintain the values that are right. And central to that is building a large group of friends and acquaintances that you can go to, that you can rely on. I've talked about that before. I've talked about the circle of friends. I don't talk about mags. I don't use other terms. It's a circle of friends. This is the way organized crime was able to sustain itself for so long until certain things happen. I talk about that on Patreon too. Some things I just don't share here on YouTube. Anyway, that's what's happening because of our Trojan hordes in Washington and our states, and some places our cities, have sold out. They've taken the money to do the bidding of another at our expense. We are importing. We don't have to allow a foreign military in here. We're allowing foreigners to fill up our military and our law enforcement. They will be the ones charged with enforcing new laws against us. Take it seriously. Get ready for it. Prepare for it. Share this with your friends. Get more people understanding this for their sake and yours. Okay, I'll bring it to a conclusion on that. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. Join us on Patreon if you'd like more content. Remember the books. That's going to give you a battle plan on how to do this stuff. The links are down below. Think about what I said. Have a good day. I'll be back and either later today or tomorrow with the 7 B's of preparedness. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.